Right, so I've scored another Commodore 64 off eBay, and this time it's a Breadbin Commodore 64, and it's in pretty bad shape. Oh wow, it's in the box though. Oh, I didn't know that was going to be a thing. It's in the original box. Oh wow. I've never had a box, even when I was a kid, I never had a box for a Commodore 64 because it was always second hand. So this is the first time I've ever seen the actual box for a Commodore 64. Wow. So they actually shipped it in this as well. Like just wrapped in paper. Oh, there we go, look at that. An actual Commodore 64 box. Unbelievable. It's at the front. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Free software disk. Wow. This I was not expecting. So this Commodore 64 that's in here is actually broken apparently. It doesn't start up properly and it crashes and all kinds of stuff. So I'm wondering how functional the whole thing's going to be, but it didn't say that it came in the original box. That is quite surprising. It's got all the peripherals in it as well. There we go, the original Commodore. Oh, it's got the power supply. Oh, it's one of these horrible potted ones, so that's pretty useless. And here we go. So when they sold these originally, it just must have come with the computer and the power supply and nothing else. I didn't realize that. I thought, so you had to buy the tape drive separately? Wow, that's pretty cheapskate. So they were really like cheaping out on the computer there. That's awesome. I've got an actual box. Oh, this is already a bit damaged. What have we got? Spacebar's falling off. Oh, it's still there though. So there's no missing keys. Oh, and no screws. Something just fell off there. I saw something just fall in. Oh, I think it's a piece of plastic from the case. Yeah, I don't know if that's been happened in transit, but that's a piece of plastic from the case. Oh, the screws are in here. Oh my God. So they just left the screws inside the case. Glad I didn't turn this on with the screws in there. So there we go. So one of the things I noticed, and it was on the picture, it's got one of these GAL PLAs, is it? So that's a modern PLA replacement. I don't know if that works. That might be the thing that's causing it to crash. Yeah, so it's got the SID. That's actually there. Whether it works or not is another matter. Don't know that it's had anything else replaced. Any of these RAM chips or anything. None of them are socketed, so they're probably all original. It did say it was crashing or it had a corrupted screen or something on startup. I mean, it doesn't look like it's had any like physical damage or anything. So that's not too bad at all. Yeah, I think that may have been recapped. Oh, I don't know actually. It's hard to tell. I just looked at it and thought it had a recap, but I'm not convinced anymore. Someone has put that, well, gone to the effort of putting that PLA in anyway. They're apparently quite good, those GAL PLAs. Like they work quite well. So this has definitely got a fault. Hopefully they weren't running it with this power supply. But I'll have to boot this up and have a go with it. Oh, they're not. Oh, those screws are from the motherboard. They haven't actually. They've just left the motherboard unscrewed. It's just got one screw in it in the corner. Maybe the screws are broken in the motherboard or something. Why wouldn't they screw it back in? When I bid on this, it was actually, it was about 5 minutes from the end. And I saw it, I think it was like £46. And I saw it and I was like, I'll bid 47, and if it goes for any more, I will not put any more in. And I bid 47 and it just went, you are the highest bidder. And I was like, oh. And I was kind of regretting it at that point because I'd seen the fact that someone had been in and messed about with the PLA and the fact that it was already broken. And no one else bid on it, so I got it for £47 plus shipping. If it's got any functional chips in, probably isn't such a bad price really, because Even just the SID chip and VIC chip in here, even if the VIC chip works, it's worth half that amount. So it's got some value. It's got a horrible coloured case. Not in the worst condition that I've ever seen. I think the spacebar is a bit dicky. Feels like it's got those rubbery keys like the ones I had in mine. I'm gonna have to boot this up and then find out what it does. Apparently it's just gonna crash. So that'll be the next step for this one. So just for fun, let's have a look at this PSU and see what this puts out. Not that it's advisable to use these, but let's just see anyway. If I can do this without blowing it up. Okay, so that's the 9-volt line. It's got 10 volts on it, and that's about right because once it goes under load, it usually goes down. 5-volt line's the one that's going to kill it if it goes wrong. Oh, it's not too bad actually. 5.1 volts. 5.137 volts. So power supply still in spec. So if anybody did use this, it's probably not blown the computer up. So that's good news, but I'm not going to be using this anyway. I'll probably power this up, but I did notice that this motherboard is just not really connected to anything. And I think this screw's not doing anything here. I just wanted to check if there was any like bits in here. That doesn't look like a motherboard screw. I don't know what that is. Just checking that there's nothing like under here. Yeah, it looks like all the little plastic standoffs have all snapped. I don't know if that happened in postage either. They look like they've snapped. Look like they've snapped in the post. It doesn't look like there's anything dodgy going on in there. So in fact, that screw wasn't even holding the motherboard in, was it? That was holding the side plate on. So I'll leave that back in. So there were 0 screws in the motherboard. Don't see any shards of metal, anything on it anywhere, so I think it's time to power it up. Here we go, moment of truth. Well, it's got a red light. Oh, it's actually got a picture. Well, this isn't the worst thing in the world. That's not as bad as I was expecting. Is this going to be another broken Commodore 64 that actually just works? Guy said it crashed a lot. I wonder if he was using a weird power supply, or maybe it's just going to crash in a moment. Let's get a diagnostic cartridge and see if it's got any errors. So I've got a backbit cartridge, and this can work as a dead test cartridge or as the diagnostic cartridge. So should be able to give it a test. I've not measured any voltages on this thing or anything yet. So, oh, there we go, it's in. So just to start with, let's just see if the backbit will just start up. So the funny colours are coming from this cable that I've made. It's not from the Commodore 64 that. Has it crashed? Don't think this is supposed to take this long. This may have crashed. So maybe this is what he was talking about, or maybe it's that GAL PLA that doesn't work so well. Let's just give it a minute, see what it does. That failed. Let's see what this comes up with. Yeah, so the terrible colours are coming from the cable that I made. They're not coming from this Commodore 64. There's no bad RAM. So let's try dead test. Well, it passed the dead tests. How interesting. This thing appears to be working. You buy these things so you can fix them, but then they just work. All right, let me get a joystick, see if this works. Hit fire. See if this one will work. Getting some horrible feedback, I think because the input on the SID isn't grounded. Well, I'm not sure that's working. Outrun might be a failure, turbo outrun. No, so it's possible that X out isn't loading either. And this works on my C64C. So from this backbit cartridge. So it could be that there are some problems with this Commodore 64. It's possible it's that GAL PLA. Maybe it's not totally compatible. I'm not exactly sure. But it's not like he's saying it's corrupting. The actual article said, the eBay listing said it corrupted graphics and it was crashing a lot. But this isn't really crashing a lot. It's just... No, so it's not fully functional, but it's kind of working. I mean, it could be incompatibility with the backbit cartridge. Oh, this is working. So I just wonder if we could test the voltage on that voltage regulator and make sure that that's all right. So we've got a 5-volt regulator and a 12-volt regulator. Let's just have a quick look on here. Is the center the ground pin? Oh, that is getting hot. Boy, that could be bad. 4.9 volts. That is super toasty. So, oh, hopefully I didn't short that. So that was 12 volts. This thing, I don't know about these, but do these get super hot usually? Because this one's going to get quite hot. I mean, I don't think they put a heatsink here if it didn't, but yeah, I don't know how hot those things usually get. But either way, it's outputting the correct voltages. So that's a good start, at least at the moment. These things might be getting cooked though. I've not seen it do these colourful screen crashes yet that have been talked about. Yeah, so that's a potentially mostly working Commodore 64. I'm actually quite upset that it works so well actually, because I thought there'd be something to fix here. Well, there it is then, a mostly working Commodore 64, if not a completely working Commodore 64. So there you go, you buy this broken stuff off eBay and it's just not as broken as you thought it was. The case is a bit broken now, and I think a lot of that's happened in transport, but I don't know, it looked like the clips were broken anyway, so, and it wasn't in the best of shape, but the computer itself's in reasonably good condition. I'm going to call that a win, I think. And there it is, that's my C64 from eBay.